Hi everyone, I am back with week 2 of using your Distress Oxide inks on your layout. And this week I am going to be using the Distress Oxide to make my title. So I'm going to be using a cut file, and I'm going to be using the packaging technique, and I'm going to be using some stamping as well. I'm showing you here, I practiced the packaging technique before I did it onto the cut file. And on that first one, that little card, I rolled off to dry it with the paper towel, and you will see the difference when you let it air dry. So that was very pastel and muted tones. So I decided those weren't the colors I wanted. So when I did this onto the cut file, I did not use a paper towel to dab it off or anything. I just let it air dry for a couple minutes in between colors, and just kept adding all my colors on there. And it's an incredible difference in the color tones when you don't dab off the like to dry it quickly or whatever. So I'm going all over this cut file. It is a cut file from Vicki Boutin. It's a free cut file on her mixed media group on Facebook. So you can go on there, and it has several different leaves and then the word thankful. And I'm adding ink. I'm adding 4 different colors. It is, let me find it. Vintage Photo, Wild Honey, Fired Brick, and Broken China. Those are the 3 colors that I felt went the best with the collection that I'm using. And the collection is an Echo Park collection called The Story of Fall. And I used those papers that I picked from that collection as my inspiration for the colors that I chose for these for these colors. And then, so once I get the packaging technique done, I use 2 stamps. They're both from Ink Road Stamps, and they're both texture stamps. So one is a bunch of circles, and the other one is different textures in like a rectangular shape. And they were perfect. What I love about the Distress Oxide inks is they're very opaque and they layer well on top of each other. So you can see, the different layers that it leaves on the paper. So I could go over the light blue, can go over the brown. Even though it's lighter, you still will see that light blue show up over the brown. Same, you're going to see all the different stamping designs that I used when you see the close-up of this cut file. And I had no idea how this was going to turn out. Let's just hope it works. Otherwise, I would be on to plan B. But it turned out actually better than I expected. Now, you'll see when I get done, I had to cut out a bunch of this video because it just got so long. But when I take the cut file off of the sheet, I kind of felt like it didn't stand out enough on the white cardstock. So I took a brown marker, and I ended up going just like drawing a line, border, or whatever, around the whole cut file. And I really think that made it pop even more. The other thing I did to help it kind of stand out a little bit is I cut this title out twice. And I went ahead and I glued the blank white one underneath, I glued them together. I wish I would have done 3. It would have made it more, with the depth of like thin chipboard, but I did 2, and it does still even help with two layers, because this is pretty thick paper I used. I ended up using some watercolor paper from Close to My Heart on this one. So I wasn't sure, I just wanted to use a nice sturdy cardstock. And I love how it worked. And I love the color of white of this cardstock as well. So here I am. You're going to see the leaves and the title there once I pull this off. Excuse my clearing my throat. This was a really, really fun layout, and my embellishing is pretty minimal. I just, you'll see as we move along, I really didn't use any embellishments per se. Used a few stickers from the sticker sheet, and that's really about it. The rest were, I punched out some things from my, a leaf from my punch and some sprigs out of some paper with my punches, and used those. And the only actual embellishment that I used were some puffy hearts from Elle Studio. So I decided I originally thought, well, maybe I could do this right on the blue or right on the wood grain, but I didn't think that the title and that mixed media popped enough on the blue or the wood grain. So then I decided I would back the whole layout with the wood grain and then cut a circle out of the middle of that paper before I backed it. And I was going to put the photo directly on just the wood grain, but it seemed so dark to me. So then I found this light blue, aqua blue paper in the collection, and I love that. And it has lines, so I'll be able to easily add my journaling below the photo on this one as well. So as you can see, I'm going to do two clusters. I'm going to do one on the bottom right hand corner, and then one on the left just below the title. And that's really going to be it. And all I'm going to do is layer up some fussy cut flowers that I cut out of some of the papers. I cut out a little hedgehog. I cut out, and then I backed the leaves from the Vicky Boutin cut file. I backed those with the dark wood grain paper that was in the collection, and I loved how that brought the brown out as well. In the end, the most time that took was fussy cutting, really, and just trying to configure the two clusters. I knew the one on the bottom right I wanted to have, that would be a little bit larger, and then the one on the left would be a little bit smaller because I had less room there. I did incorporate two labels into each of the sides, and I was going to stamp something on there, but then I never did. I may go back and use just one of my roller date stamps and add a few like second generation, some second generation stamping on those, just with some fun words like love or together or something like that. This photo is a photo of my brother and I, and a couple years ago, my husband, for my birthday, which is in November, he sent me to San Francisco for a week to see my brother, and he lives in the city. And this is just on a fall day in San Francisco. We were down by the waterfront, and it's the little selfie of the two of us, and I love the picture, and I love him, and I'm just kind of gonna journal about our relationship. He's one of my best friends, and it's just awesome to have, siblings like that. So, so what am I doing now? I think I'm still working on placing some of those flowers in there. I did put a couple of them on dimensionals, but not too many. I think just one or two in each cluster I put on dimensionals. And then I'm going to add, here's where I'm going to layer up the photo. I'm going to use that floral paper, and then the kind of burnt red paper, and then the dark wood grain paper. And I'm just going to do very thin, small layers, and I love it. I love the dark wood grain on the bottom, and then I tore the bottom edges of two of those papers, just so it wouldn't feel so, straight and clean. When you have all of these fussy cut items, it's not what I would call a super clean layout or geometric layout, so I wanted to add a little texture by ripping those papers on the bottom there. Once I get my photo placed, I'm not going to have much more to do. I end up, my title says Thankful for You, and I'm going to add the For You, and those are the Pink Fresh Studio little puffy letters, and those worked out perfect. You'll see I audition it, and I was thinking about putting it right on top of the photo, but I didn't really like that, so then I moved it over to the side little ring area, and that's where it ends up finding its home. I'm going to nestle that photo underneath the descender of the F and a little bit under the H, just so it feels like it's not floating there. It feels like it's more attached to the layout. I don't like when a photo is just floating in the middle of the page, unless I'm doing a page where everything's floating. But typically I like my photos to be touching something, the title, some embellishments, something that makes it feel connected. So that's why I kind of tucked it there under the title. Now I'm adding those hearts that I talked about earlier from Elle Studio, and I've had these in my stash. I think I bought like 3 packages of them, and I keep all of my kind of puffy stars, puffy hearts. They're all in one little pouch, one of those freckled fawn pouches. And since that's something that I typically add to the end of my layout, like a finishing touch, I thought that's where I keep them all together. On this one, I was considering using sequins, and now looking at it, I probably could just add sequins with the hearts, but I ended up just going with the hearts on this one, and I like it. I may go back in and add a couple of sequins just to have a little bit more bling in there. We'll see. But I love that this leaves me lots of space for journaling, gives me lines for journaling on that aqua paper, and it's just perfect because there is a lot I want to say on this one. To finish it off, I'm going to use 2 mists. One is the Distress Spray Stain, and the other one is an old Mr. Huey's called Dark Calico. I'm going to just mist on the 2 corners where around the embellishments, and then that's going to finish off my layout. I hope you will visit my description box below. You'll see all the links of the other ladies who have created layouts also, and I'd love for you to check them out. They are super talented, and it's really fun to see what each one of us comes up with each week. It's interesting, last week I did see that nobody did really the same thing, so that was really fun. So I'm excited to watch everybody's video. I hope you will like and subscribe to mine and to theirs if you're not already a subscriber. And yeah, I hope you will come back for more. We will have 2 more weeks of this mini series, so next Thursday and then the following Thursday right before Thanksgiving, and that will be it. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and here are a few close-up shots. I hope you all have a great day. Bye.